I'd like to call the Planning Commission meeting to order. We have 3 members present, so we have established quorum. 2 members are absent today. First on the agenda, I do need to administer an oath if anyone plans on speaking at today's Planning Commission meeting. All you have to do is say, I do. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth to the best of your ability to this commission? Thank you. We do have, I believe, it's a little cozy. You could sit at the table, but we also have a podium if anyone plans on speaking. It's the easiest route. Disposition of the last meeting minutes. I was not present, but we do have a comment here on a, looks like just a past tense or present tense, correct?
Right, I would say it's essentially a typo.
Okay. All right, so we have a typo on the John Lavelle case, but we can, we'll just submit this to the records and corrections can be made on that issue. There was a little discussion prior to the meeting start about who was in attendance. Are we good on how the minutes stand?
I had wanted clarification on the attendees, Frank Lavelle. And frankly, since we only have, I would assume that you'd be abstaining from the minutes.
Right.
So
let's hold off on the minutes. Yeah, that's fine. There might be better memories at the next meeting too. So. We'll move on to cases. We do have one case on the agenda today. It is number 13, 15th case, 2013. It is Texas Roadhouse at East State Street, a Title 41 site plan review. We did, if you recall, a few weeks back, we had a preliminary, it might have been a couple months ago now, but a preliminary review of this project. The representative is present, so if you have questions, they can be stated explicitly and specifically to that person. Mr. Paskey or Mr. Logue, could you please provide us a brief rundown of the summary of staff review, et cetera?
Yes, I can do that. As you may remember, this was here a few weeks ago or a month ago or so for a preliminary review. This is for a proposed Texas Roadhouse located at the market on East State. The address will be 994 East State for this building. I think they have a different address on their drawings, but that was preliminary, and I have gone over that with them since.
Okay.
The site is a B3 zone, and so it is a permissible use within the zone. The traffic study on that area, as we know, that's a high-volume area, about 29,000 cars per day, but the current mall does have 3 curb cuts and one of them with its own light, so that should help there. The surrounding land uses, as we know, it's about a 72.8 acre parcel, which only about 11% of it is developed. The remaining part is the rugged wooded hill to the rear of it. To the east are the Athena Grand Movie Theater on the same parcel, and the First National Bank to the east of that. To the west are Leghorns and the Hampton Inn, and all of these properties are zoned B3 as well. Across the street is the M zone that has Lowe's, Arby's, Knights Inn, and some various retail or office buildings. The development request proposal of a 6,679 square foot Texas Roadhouse restaurant. Project was reviewed, including the entire project as a whole for all bulk control and parking regulations, including the mall and the movie theater. The site plans were reviewed by the code office, city planner, engineer and public work, fire department, and police department, and I will go over those notes with you now. As I said, it is zone B3. It is a permissible use within that zone. Front setback is not required. Rear setbacks 10 feet, and it's obviously okay there. Side yard setbacks are okay. The height permissible is 45 feet, 3.5 stories. The building is 27 feet, 6 inches tall, so it's okay. Lot coverage is non-applicable. Parking, there are 34 required parking spaces for this building, and there are 50 provided immediately around the building. The entire lot requires 1,129 parking spaces at 100% occupancy. If the mall was 100% occupied, that's how many they would be required.
Based on a business
Based on, I did it at the highest use, based on business uses. And there are currently 1,272 parking spaces, provided that the back northeast corner does get striped.
And I see that is included in their site plan as well.
Yes, it is. And they have it on their notes to do so.
By owner.
They have provided a bicycle rack with 4+ spaces. Dumpster is located on the northeast corner of the building with proper screening. They went before the Shade Tree Commission on August 22nd. 16 trees were required, and there will be 20+ trees planted throughout the site that was approved by the Shade Tree Commission that evening. And the lighting, the parking lot lighting plan has been submitted to me. Athens Fire Department, it has their standard reviews and comments about a lockbox. The building will be fire suppressed, and they do have a Siamese hookup to the rear of it. I can let Emily speak if it has an alarm system, renunciator panel, etc. But those are just, if they have them, then they need to be tied in. Athens Police Department, I did not receive any comments back from the police chief. Typically, his only response on this was lighting, and then they do have sufficient lighting. And the city planner has no comments as well. So he says. I'll let him speak to that. Engineering Public Works, they have a few preliminary comments. None of them were too significant. Streets, there were no comments. Storm drainage, everything you see here on storm is mostly to do with our stormwater management plan, and any of the items that have been listed here will be submitted and added onto the drawings at the time that they submit for their. They haven't actually applied for the stormwater management permit yet. That'll come after when they submit the use permit.
When they submit for the building permit. Okay.
Yes. But these items were very minimal and not a big deal to be taken care of.
Right.
Water, backflow prevention, just wanted some specific notes in regards to the backflow protector, as well as the same with the sanitary sewer and some other comments about city contacts. So the notes from EPW were very minimal.
One question I have, I mean, I think these are pretty general comments that we are used to seeing on these Title 41 reviews, because it is site-specific and not the final building permit, et cetera. But where we're looking at a development that is owned by, a large leased area by a larger entity, who then ultimately is responsible for the maintenance of the building, any new site work that's put in, the bike racks, the sidewalks, the maintaining of the grass? Does that...
I will let the applicant speak to that. I imagine
'cause I did see there is a
leasehold agreement between them.
Okay. There is a comment there about on the R2 under storm drainage about shall be stabilized with mulch and seed if seasonally timing appropriate. Again, how does that...
That will be within the construction area where the building will be, and that will be the responsibility of the contractor.
Contractor, okay.
In the Texas Roadhouse.
All right. Any other comments for John based on the summary?
Just a brief checkup on the parking, which you've already addressed, but I think the last meeting we had, the mayor was concerned about how that broke down as far as like if a certain amount had been specifically designated for the Athena Grand, and then was that all part of the count?
Yes, I included the entire lot as one, because it's all one parcel.
Sure.
So then I took the square footage of the entire mall and the Athena Grand as one and put it in as what their requirements are for that specific area, or the project as a whole.
And Nicholas just stated it shows the markings of the parking.
Yeah, so I was trying to find
it.
it. Okay, here, this one. This show. It puts it not by the contractor, so it is by the owner, so it's something
In regards to parking?
in regards to parking, so.
Yeah.
The striping.
The
striping
striping, that
is,
part,
yes.
yes. I thought you were talking about stormwater management.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry, we were switching gears there.
And then the ingress, egress of getting in and out by where the lot or the light closest to the rest of the city. I think that was brought up, but that's not a concern to anybody there.
It's traffic circulation within the site. I mean, if you guys want to discuss it, that's fine, but
Right.
No, okay.
No.
Well, I don't think the inclination is for any additional entrance onto it.
Right.
On the stormwater, I just wanted to confirm that, the BMPs that were attached will be used as opposed to what was proposed in the plans.
They've already been provided to them.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
All right, questions more specific to the applicant?
I just didn't know, did it speak to, we did talk about traffic circulation within there, and I don't know if that was anything within the plans.
I didn't say anything. In regards to the layout, how traffic flow moves on a site. They have, if you look at their
Yeah, I
site
think
plan,
they
they
have
actually
it.
have stop, I wouldn't say signs, but they have stop markings painted on the asphalt before a car leaves parking lot and starts circulating around the building, et cetera. So I think they took into took into consideration those comments.
Okay.
Yeah, there's not directional errors, but you can tell by the direction that each is put out what they're assuming.
And frankly, I would think most times there's going to be plenty of overflow parking in that front area. so,
Yeah, yeah.
That's what I was trying to ask.
Okay.
Thank you.
I once, I'll do a short story, but a partner of mine once had to fly all the way he took trains all the way into New Hampshire for an application that was all, pretty straightforward, very prepared for any question that they would have. There was a question asked, it was a yes/no answer, he said yes, and that was the extent of his 20-hour trip there. So this may be similar, because we did go over a lot of this during the preliminaries, the moral of that story. But, any other questions?
Not right now.
Okay. I would like to put forward a motion to accept this application for Title, or recommend it as the Title 41 site plan review,
I'll second.
with, again, the conditions being any comments that were brought forth in the staff review. Again, most of them appear to just be by the Public Works and would all be based on the final building permit and stormwater application.
Correct.
I understand there's a motion and a second. May I ask a question of the property owner?
Absolutely, that's what I was.
Brent, and they can't see you out there, so that...
If you could go up to the podium is what she's implying. Sorry, we can't get any response on the microphone otherwise. Thank you.
And just for the heart and soul of those in Athens and Athens County and what have you, will the farmer's market be relocated on your property?
We have no lease with the farmer's market at this time. We've told the farmer's market we would try to work with them, and we will try to work with them. But I can't answer that. We have no lease right now.
Okay,
Okay?
thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Paul or John, anything else to add? Okay. There's a motion. You did want to second it, did you say?
RJ
Or
seconded
RJ
it.
second, I apologize.
Second.
See, it shouldn't be this confusing with just
Three
three of
people.
us here, I know, but somehow it's harder to keep track of. Keep hearing the
It's all
mayor
because
somehow in
Shar's
my
not
left
here.
ear.
It's all because Shar's not here.
I think so. All right, second, any other further discussion or comments, questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? All right, unanimous with the members present, 2 abstaining, of course, because they're not here. Any other questions or comments about this case before we pass? All right, no other cases on the agenda that I'm aware of. We do have no communications right now on the agenda. Was there anything that wanted to be added? We probably, again, don't want to, I think we try to avoid going into in-depth communications without all members or majority of members present. We do have quorum, but it's still always nice to hear everybody's opinion. So I suggest that we don't do the business discussion
Okay.
or zoning discussions at this time. Is that okay? That's not a motion. Reports from our city planner and director of code enforcement. Any?
All I have is we have a BZA meeting next Tuesday evening. It's the case that was tabled on Door Run last month.
Okay.
So that's the only case we've got this month. That's all I have.
Okay. Mr. Lowe?
The city's Environment and Sustainability Commission is looking into some options and reviewing some best practices on climate action and sustainability plans. I'm not sure where that will lead, but there is some interest with that commission as well as several members of council to look at the options or the concepts of sustainability planning. So we've been working on that for the last month or so. Last week I was in Cleveland, downtown Cleveland for the statewide Ohio Planners Association conference. There's a lot of a lot of good things were being said about Athens up there from a lot of the planners. There was a session on the local food movement, which was not organized or didn't have anybody from Athens speaking. They did have somebody from Licking County and somebody from Columbus, and I think somebody from Northeast Ohio who was presenting. And everybody who walked out of that session, which I didn't attend, but told me afterwards, said that the majority of the conversation was about how well Athens has their local food systems in place, and how Athens is looked at as being a best practice and being a leader in the Midwest for local foods for a small community. So there's a lot of interest around that discussion, and that's certainly, from a planning perspective, local foods is kind of coming to the top as being a major issue. So Athens is really ahead of the curve there.
That's good.
I did present on that Essence of Athens plan. There was also a lot of encouragement and interest in that plan. I expect that we will have something for the Planning Commission and for the city, at least in a draft mode, within the next 30 days or so.
Okay.
So it's coming along too. The FEMA floodplain mapping, as I've been saying for the last year, it seems, we are in our 90-day review. I think we're probably at, we've got about 65 days to go, I'm guessing, just off the top of my tongue, or considering an appeal to the flood mapping as it impacts Nelsonville. I do not expect that that would impact the city of Athens, though, but that is all I have.
All right. One question I did have for you was the historic preservation issue with the city council, and whether, I think where we last left it was there was a recommendation to have, I guess, an ordinance. It would be right with set up a commission, correct?
The commission is established.
That's what. Okay.
Yeah, they've been meeting monthly. The next meeting is a week and a half.
Okay.
So that's second Monday of the month, I think we meet, or the third, second Monday of every month.
So are you sitting on that as a member or more as a
I attend as the
facilitator?
The city's staffing.
Okay.
I contribute minutes, and I try to put packets together for them.
Okay.
I'm not a voting member or anything like that. There's 5 members plus 2 alternates.
Okay.
The council, when the ordinance was created, that commission doesn't have any authority over historic preservation as far as review or comment or anything like that.
Is going to be similar to, so right now it's nothing at all like Shade Tree where they'll be reviewing.
It is not. No, that is a power that by law, should it be requested, or should council want to give them a power to review for historic preservation or historic appropriateness of a site or of a district as it goes with respect to development, they can have that power. Council hasn't given it to them yet. I believe, and I'm not sure where we'll get with that. There are a lot of communities that have historic preservation commissions that do not have any input into the site review process. It seems to me, in my personal opinion, or I guess my professional opinion as a planner, is that it is a best practice when you're dealing with historic properties to have a historic review commission to at least comment on it to a developer. Whether there's standards that somebody must follow, or whether it's just a matter of giving some advice.
And I think
there's 2 ways to look at that, but that's not for me to determine the best how Athens as a community thinks that should be approached. But
no, I understand. I mean, I think what would help us as a commission is to understand guidelines as far as what should be considered historic and what not. I think that's where it can't just be. I mean, I think it's got to be transparent to everyone going in before a project even comes to us, but whether it's a developer, an individual, or something that they know they're doing with the historic property.
Is the commission following national standards, or are they creating their own?
They're not following any standards or creating their own at this point, because we haven't gotten to that point where there's been a request from council to look at guidelines or look at standards. The default, as written into the code, should Athens City Council give them that power, the default is to follow national standards. That's set up by the U.S. Department of the Interior. They're very loose and very, in my opinion, they're pretty generic, but they're also really common sense. Depending on the era, a certain building should have certain look and certain window treatments, etc. And that's all there is to it. Brick should be treated differently than concrete, differently than wood, etc. There are a lot of communities that do create their own standards to get into more detail. That would be something you'd have to create a standards book, a plan, and that would have to be adopted by a city council.
What about destruction of a structure, which is what prompted, I think, a lot of this?
That would be a power that city council would have to give as well, and they have not at this point. But there's, by law, for something to be registered, will never stop anything from being destroyed.
Right. I mean, I guess
That's
as
still a private property matter. Even
Right.
we would never have that authority either. There are some ordinances that have been drafted, and what's a common practice is to try to get breathing room. If somebody says they want to tear down a historic property, it's just to get a little bit of room in there to discuss that with the property
Right.
owner, and also have that commission try to find alternatives, or just to negotiate or discuss that so that we don't see the wrecking ball. But ultimately, the private property right would trump that.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I think we'd like to know how we should be considering utilizing the commission. Like,
Right.
if we have something come in there, there's a concern brought up, can we
Right.
say, can we, I guess, not assign, but recommend that the Historic Preservation Commission looks
Right.
over this project or something? And
What
you know.
what I'm working on with them right now is there's been a lot that's been done in the past as far as doing inventories
Right.
of historic properties around the city of Athens and the county at large. It's all kind of scattered around as to, where that documentation is. I've got an intern that's working with me right now. She's a graduate student in the public administration program at Ohio University. She's trying to put all that together so that into a single file system that the city will maintain, and also put together a database, just a basic Excel spreadsheet, so that we have all of the information that's already been recorded as far as the year, the address, the property ownership, architectural style of different buildings, regardless of whether they're registered or not. Like,
Right.
Things have been inventoried, but also the reason as to why we think something might be historic. The commission might want to take all of that data and do more research on other buildings and do additional inventories around the community, and then give that information to city council and make the case that, there's things within the history of Athens that don't boil up to the level of being historic at the state level,
Right.
or and even beyond that, they're certainly
Right.
not historic at the national level to tell a story of the spread of the United States or
Right.
the history of the U.S., but they still might be significant to local history.
Right.
And then the city of Athens, council could choose to recognize those as being historic, just have a historic registry within of our city, and they could choose to put standards on them as well. That's a very long process.
Right.
I
We're
wouldn't see
just
us
at
getting
the-
there for several
the-
years, if at
So
all.
so the final arbiter of whether something is historic or not would be the city council?
You have to make the case as to why something's historic, and there's guidelines that are provided by the state and the Fed with which to do that. And you can't just arbitrarily determine that something's historic. As a standard rule, any structure that's to make the case that something's historic, it has to be at a minimum 50 years old, and you have to be able to explain why. Not just a building, because it's a building, is likely not to be historic. It needs to be relating to the architectural style, the rarity of it perhaps,
To a
the
person or
uniqueness,
something.
or to the people who lived there,
the use.
or to a major event that took place there.
Right.
And that's usually what you get into there. Now, you can look at that Booker T. Washington building on that home on West Washington, or West State.
West
Washington. It's just a vinyl-covered home, and there's a lot of them that look very similar to that are not historic. That building is historic because of, an event that took place that's significant to the history of the U.S.
And they are still in their infancy, and thank goodness that they don't have to follow the U.S. Department of Interior, because they wouldn't be meeting right now.
Right, but if they're making
That's
a
good point,
list,
yeah.
but if, you are making a list, then I would assume that you have to be going by some
Yeah,
standard.
you'd have to set up the standards
Right.
first. Or, I mean, I guess you could look at it the other way, set up the list and try to figure out why you're considering these things.
And just to clarify on that, RJ, the code the ordinance has standards with how to determine whether something is historic or not. And then there's also, that's a standard that we have. But I think when I was using the term standards, I was referring to whether you have standards for how something should be designed or how something should be should look.
Renovated.
Or how something should be renovated, and that's, that's a level of building and zoning that we have never applied in Athens.
Right.
But we have the legal authority to do so. You do have to be very specific with your standards if you're going to adopt something besides the national standard. And then just like when we're doing a Title 41 site plan review or anything like that, you have to go through the process with which to determine whether something is appropriate or not. It's not just an arbitrary decision, and you have to have all of that in the record. But we haven't gotten to a point where that has to be, where that's even a situation as far as a review yet.
Well, thank you again for giving us all that information, and even if some of it is, again, just all new.
Right.
And we're still trying to figure
It's
that out.
always baby steps.
Exactly.
I
appreciate that.
I always think things are going to happen a lot faster than they are,
Right.
than they do happen, but a slower process, I think we usually get better results in the end. And
Understood.
we do have, 7 volunteer citizens who are on this commission, so it's, there's only so much you can ask for volunteers as far as
Right.
to set aside time. The two of you know this very well, of course, being
Right.
volunteers yourselves.
Yeah, they got more volunteers than we do.
Right.
It's impressive.
Yeah.
We'd make a trade. Any other questions?
They have night meetings.
Well, I like this. This is, it's all sounding good. Any other questions for John or Paul? Again, appreciate your guys' commitment to the cause. Opportunities for citizens to speak about items not covered? Anyone want to speak outside of their commissioner role as a citizen of Athens?
No.
Okay. Announcements and other business. Our next meeting is scheduled for October 17th, that Thursday at noon. And is this considered the city council chambers?
Mm-hmm.
Sure. Caught that.
Are you
We'll have a
thinking?
lot split on there, I'm sure of that.
Okay.
It's a parcel that's greater than 5 acres. It's in the 3 mile, but it's landlocked, so have an easement of access. That'll be required to go through here and city council. I got a few others, but I don't think they're going to be prepared by next month,
Okay.
or next meeting.
Any other announcements, any town hall meetings or anything upcoming, forthcoming?
There's League of Women Voters things from now on out.
Okay.
October, I think 15th was the electric aggregation.
Okay.
If they go to League of Women Voters site, they should be able to find that. So were we going to revisit businesses then, maybe on October 17th?
It sounds like it. It sounds like it's just going to be a
won't
lot
be
split.
Okay.
So it would be good to do.
At least have some more discussion.
I am here.
Okay. Great.
I apologize for not being in the last meeting. To everyone who was watching at home as well. Any other announcements?
Our ratings went down.
I can imagine.
It's all your
Sure.
fault.
We might have
Two to one,
lost.
right?
We might have lost one viewer out.
Your wife didn't watch.
That's right.
Yeah.
If there's no other announcements, we are adjourned. I do appreciate it.